Namaskar, welcome to Sansad TV. We have a very special session today. It's called Look Northeast, and a special guest to talk about the immense growth story and opportunity unfolding in the region. We have Shri Chanchal Kumar, Secretary, Ministry of Donor, which is called the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. This is your host, Manish Kumar Jha. In fact, let me give you some background before we start the deliberation on Northeast potential. Northeast is India's key economic asset poised for rapid industrialization. The contribution of Northeast to India's GDP currently stands at 2.9%. However, the thrust on expanding infrastructure, air, road and rail connectivity and waterways is unfolding immense opportunity, making the region an invaluable asset and powerhouse in India's economic growth story. Important to highlight that Northeastern region is a gateway to Southeast Asian countries, aligning perfectly with India's Act East policy, as Prime Minister recently highlighted the potential of northeastern states in various sectors such as tourism, hospitality, agri, allied industry, healthcare, entertainment, sports and infrastructure, including logistics, IT and textile. High literacy rates and abundant natural resources make it an ideal destination for investment. The Ministry of Donor has been actively driving growth in Northeast India, focusing on transparency, infrastructure and development and investment across key sectors such as healthcare, tourism, agriculture and semiconductor. I welcome Secretary Chanchal Kumar. And sir, I begin asking you, you are heading such a policy direction, implementation on such a crucial department, focusing on the Northeast region. What is the scale of development covering major roads and highways? Starting with the infrastructure always remains a thrust. Could you open the debate and opening the remark on this aspect?
Thank you for having me. As you have pointed out, Ministry of Development of Northeastern region has a mandate of being the nodal agency for all developmental initiative in Northeast. All the 8 states, starting from Sikkim, Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, Meghalaya. We have seen that in the last 10 years, there has been tremendous growth in the infrastructure connectivity of the region. If you see in terms of national highways, we had less than 11,000 kilometers of national highways. We have more than almost 16,000 kilometers of national highways now. Number of airports has increased from 9 to 17. We have operationalized under UDAN more than 64 routes. Railway connectivity to all these states have increased. We have had more than 1900 kilometers of railway line constructed. All major cities of all northeastern states, they have been connected. If you see in terms of Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, more than 46,000 kilometers of road has been constructed with a cost of over 47,000 crores. Number of inland waterways has increased from 1 to 20. So you see that there has been a focus on increased infrastructure connectivity so that people can easily go there, tourists can easily go there. The transaction cost for all economic activities, it gets reduced, and thereby it gives fillip and has a multiplier effect for the economy of the region also. So we have seen that in the last 10 years, the capacity of the states also have increased, whereas few years back we were able to construct only 100 kilometers of or 200 kilometers of national highways. Now we have been able to construct more than 1,300 kilometers of national highways in these areas. That shows that the appetite is there, the capacity to execute the projects is there, and we have taken leverage. And now the situation is that there is increased connectivity in terms of telecom sector also. We have penetrated and reached remote areas. So we have seen that this has had a very salutary effect on the economy of the state.
We often hear the term which goes with infrastructure development, and the new term is about sustainable development is attached, called green infrastructure. You talked about recently green infrastructure for micro solar grid power plants and maintaining a balance between development needs and environmental goals. What is the policy outlook for doing such measures within the scope of infrastructure development, while there's immense potential to do that? So how do you maintain the balance between the development and also keeping the environment intact, which Northeast is famous for, endowed for?
Let me give you some figures. Northeast has a population of less than 4%. It has area of less than 8%. 2/3 of the area is declared as or designated as forest area. So that brings the sustainability issue and the eco-sensitiveness in terms of all our policy prescriptions in the Northeast. When you talk about energy, the policy outlook of the government is that we should have decentralized energy development in terms of mini and micro solar projects. The potential of Northeast for these projects is immense. We have seen that the hydro potential of Arunachal Pradesh is something which needs to be emphasized, needs to be harnessed, and that is precisely what we are doing. The policy of the government is to have increased access of electricity to that area in terms of distribution system, in terms of transmission lines. We have government schemes which supports states in strengthening these infrastructures, and the use of solar power is all the more important in those remote areas where conventional power infrastructure is challenging and it is not there. So there has been a very conscious effort in terms of our policy advocacy, in terms of taking up projects, that all these projects, number one, it should not be something which disturbs the eco-sensitive nature of that area. All the states, all the ministries of Government of India, they are very conscious of this fact. So all the projects that are taken, due diligence is done so that the outcome does not impact the eco-sensitiveness of the area. The key focus is also to involve the community in these development processes. All the groups, territorial councils, they are heavily invested in the developmental process. We always choose projects, sanction projects after due consultations with them. If you see in terms of our own projects of Ministry of Donor, we have PM Divine, NASID's Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, roads other than road infrastructure, schemes of NEC, and also special development packages for the state of Assam. So in most of these projects, the consultation process with the state government is intensive, and all the checklists in terms of seeing the outcome, how it benefits the local community, whether it is disturbing the eco-sensitiveness of the area, all these things are considered. Only then the projects are sanctioned and implemented. And while implementing these projects also, we consciously give support, we handhold the state government and the implementing agency, because we know that the sustainable nature of the project has to be there, it has to be built into the developmental process if we have to continue with the sensitive nature of this area, and that is precisely what we are doing.
Secretary Kumar, one thing which comes to my mind very interesting, as you said, Northeast has a diverse region. It has a different terrain. It has a lot of mountains and forest, and there any project implementation does take time. It has a legacy issues also. How do you ensure that project implementation gets faster under your leadership? How do you ensure this particular aspect, keeping that geography and project implementation a difficult task for sure?
Yes, you are right. We have sanctioned many projects in these states. We monitor them very intensively. We have seen that there are challenges of the terrain. As you know, it's a hilly area, mountainous area. If you are constructing a road, you will find that there are questions of slope stabilization, there are questions of slippages in the road track. Then there are issues of clearances, because most of these areas are forest areas, so forest clearance, statutory clearances are there. There are some local issues also involved in terms of law and order, utility shifting. Then the capacity of the agency. In many cases, we find that the states do not have sufficient capacity, or the number of agencies which are working in that area, it's not adequate. So that hand-holding also has to be done. We have seen that all these 8 states, they have potential, tremendous potential in terms of whether you see textile, education, health, hospitality and tourism sector, IT, ITS potential. So what we are doing is, we have done a SWOT analysis of all these states in terms of all these parameters vis-a-vis other states of Northeast, vis-a-vis other states of the country, and also compare with the neighboring countries. And based on that, we have come out with certain policy recommendations. We have seen that some of the issues have short-term or medium-term or long-term solutions. We have discussed these, shared these data, these informations with the state government, and then we are in the process of sharing their output. They have the mandate of making suitable amendments in that policy paper, and once it is firmed up, that will become the common roadmap for both of us. And that is what precisely we are doing. So in all the sectors, we are trying to find what is the long-term policy implications, what is the road ahead, what is the roadmap that we should follow, and in association with the states, we are doing this. Also, we have given a special focus to the border areas. Honorable Prime Minister has been mentioning that this is the first village. So all the amenities, all the facilities and the developmental processes should reach there. And this is precisely what we are doing in terms of our own priorities. We have also seen that there are 129 districts. So there should be equitable distribution of resources in these areas. We have shared the data with the state government saying that these are the areas where more focus should be given, and accordingly the projects are proposed by them and we sanction them. We have also seen that in terms of saturation of projects, we have talked to the state government and said that please define some of the sector, identify some of the sectors which we can saturate with everything. Say for example, in terms of road connectivity or in terms of telecom connectivity, and then in association with again the state government, we have formed a roadmap for that, and we are working on that. 10% GBS support is also one area in which we are intensively working with the state government. One of the mandate of the Ministry of Donor is to see that 54 non-exempt ministries, they spend at least 10% of their gross budgetary support in Northeast. And this is also something where we work with all these ministries to see that they are able to spend the money allocated to them for Northeast.
So here you elaborated very in a comprehensive manner, Secretary, and you talked about the immense opportunity. I would like to come back on the current trend in investment promotion, investment opportunity in Northeast region. What specific initiative or policy has the government, particularly Donor, because we see you as a guardian of Northeast region, taking things faster, implemented to attract and support investment in the region? If you could just specifically talk about this.
So we have again talked to all the state government. We have done some analysis of the investment potential. We have had many road shows in different parts of the country. We will be having a Northeast Investment Summit in May. Now in these road shows, we take delegation of all the 8 states. They make their pitch, they have B2G meetings, and then we talk to the investors. MOUs have been signed, letter of intents have been signed. In the last road shows which we had, some total, if we say for the last 1 year, almost 1 lakh crore of worth of MOUs and letter of intents have been signed. Now we are talking to all the state governments, helping them, facilitating them on how to ground these projects, how to see that these projects get implemented. And this is something again we are discussing very regularly with the Chief Secretary and other officials of the state governments. It is true that Northeast has tremendous potential in terms of tourist and hospitality sector, in terms of IT, ITS possibility. You have seen there is one project of semiconductor fab unit which is coming up in Assam. That has given a very positive signal and it has created a very good IT-based ecosystem. Now other investors are also interested that if this can be done in one location, this certainly can be done in that area. If we see Northeast as a gateway to Southeast Asia, then we find that this can be a hub for so many activities in terms of education sector, in terms of medical and healthcare, in terms of agri and horticulture produce. We have started a mission to see that most of these products get GI tagged. That increases the investment opportunity and the potential for these products. And one thing I can tell you that all the states have very good proactive investment policies. They have a stable policy regime, they have good investment policy, they have good incentive and customized sectoral policies, so that if a particular is coming with more than say 100 crore rupees and more than 200 employment, then the state is willing to engage with them and give them a customized policy solution. So that part is there, and this is bearing fruit, and we are seeing that many people are getting interested in the investment scenario in Northeast. Also, Government of India has this policy of Unnati, which was unveiled in March 2024. So investors have capital support, they have interest subvention support, they have GST reimbursement support. All these things are known to investors. We have been able to talk to most of the investors and impress upon them that you see the potential of Northeast and it is now ripe. The kind of connectivity which we have created, the kind of infrastructure which we have created, now it is stable for investment 2.0. So, and this is what we are pitching for, that all the investors can come, the state is willing to support them, there is a stability in political scenario, there is absolutely good appetite and capacity of the state to execute the project and give them hand holding, and we are finding that investors are showing deep interest.
So there remains potential, and donor being a prime guardian, there are multiple agencies to support such investment in Northeast. But one again, quickly, Secretary pointed out, this story breaks the general sense of investment. When you talked about the set up a semiconductor unit in Assam, it breaks the general sense of usually investment. We talk about the infrastructure, energy. It's a sunshine story that we address the higher skill set in the Northeast region. We wanted to tap and optimize the different set of skills in addressing the critical technology, advanced technology. Could you talk more about this sort of semiconductor industry set up there?
In fact, there is a very important aspect that if you can have a IT based such sensitive industry, then of course other things which are much less in terms of technological finesse, that can always be done. In terms of technology difficulty, semiconductor unit, fabrication unit is supposed to be one of the difficult project. If this can be successfully implemented, if this can go ahead and this can be a success story in Northeast, then certainly all the investors are seeing that normal manufacturing, food processing, agro and horti products processing units, these things can be easily done, and that is what we are harping on. That's why we said, with the strong incentive structure in place in all the states, with a good investment promotion agency, and all the chief ministers and all the state governments keenly looking for investment from these people and willing to give all the support that these investors want, now there is no barrier in terms of psychologically thinking whether we should go there in Northeast or not. We are saying that this is a place where we can make a success story in a very, very niche area. If that is possible, then all other things are much less in terms of complexity.
Right. I think it's
and
very
that is what is happening now. And that is what is happening now.
As you pointed out, setting up a semiconductor plant, which India strives to achieve, it's a very complex science and engineering. Very few countries have mastered. So I think it's good progress, especially in Northeast. It opens a lot more scope of opportunity. But I will come back to you again. You just talked about the 10% gross budgetary support. How is the whole of government approach being followed? Can you elaborate more on this particular policy aspect?
Yes. So, one of the mandates of this ministry is that 54 non-exempt ministries, they have to spend 10% of their gross budgetary support in Northeastern region. So, for example, if Ministry of Health has a budget of 100 crores, they have to at least spend 10 crores in Northeastern region. And this is something which we monitor. We monitor on a quarterly basis. So, if I give you the figure, this total figure for all the non-exempt ministries in 2014 was 24,500 crores. This was the appetite and the expenditure in 2014. Last year, in 1 year, we were able to spend against a target of 92,000 crore, we were able to spend 1,02,749 crores. So you see, in terms of more than 4 times jump. This shows the increased appetite again of the state government in terms of accepting the projects, executing it.
And because of the 10% gross budgetary support, we stopped talking.
And if you see for the last 10 years, this gross budgetary support target would be 5.15 lakh crore, against which we have been able to achieve a target of 5.22 lakh crore. So we have already spent more than 100% of the target which was set for us by the ministry.
And Secretary, quickly, you also talked about the monitoring. It's important to monitor such a heavy investment which takes place in Northeast region. Project is complex, multi-layers, agencies are involved there. How do you monitor and streamline the funding? Very critical things to answer.
So especially 2 things, sir. One is for the other ministries, they have their own monitoring system, but we also monitor their performance every quarter. So quarterly monitoring is done with them.
Is it through third-party auditing, or you yourself?
Now, regarding our projects, Ministry of Donors project, we are doing project quality monitors are going there. We have third-party technical inspections. We have officers of NEC, officers of M-Donor, they are going there. In addition to that, we have also technical inspection and feasibility study, impact study done by IIM. So all these things are done. And when we do that inspection report, the good part is all these inspection reports are shared with the state government. What is the problem? We do a hand holding so that in the next process, in the next iteration, when they take up similar project, those deficiencies could be matched. So this has been a continuous process. Entire selection and sanction process for the projects has been streamlined and made online. So now, right from the time when the state level empowered committee headed by Chief Secretary recommends a project and EIMC empowered interministerial committee recommends it, entire process is captured online. Monitoring is done online. There is very intensive monitoring. We have our own FTSU, Field Support Technical Unit, in all the states, which works in tandem with the planning department of the state. And I have been in touch with all the chief secretaries of the state. Regular monitoring of the project, sharing the data with the state government.
Is it a quarterly monitoring? How is monitoring?
No, it is much more than quarterly. It is, in fact, every 10 days or so, we are giving them advisories
on how to mechanism
advisories on how to take it forward and how to select the schemes and what are the deficiencies or the problems which we are finding.
Secretary, come back to again the investment opportunity. This again sunshine area. It's an emerging part of India. It's going to be the economic growth story of India. Do you plan some sort of economic zones for the industry and investor? I understand while government is a major investor, what is the plan to attract, in fact, more FDI, which is called foreign direct investment, to boost development in Northeast? There's also multiple opportunity where foreign investors are also keen to invest, fund, bring their capital and be a part of the growth story.
Yes. So as I said, the Northeastern region is rich in natural resources. It has a strategic location and has very strong presence in terms of textile. If I were to tell you, more than 60% of the weavers are from Northeast. So, and all the states, different states have different GI tags, they have different style of textile. So whether it is textile, whether it is tourism hospitality, whether it is IT, ITS, all these sectors are good. We are not only talking to investors in India, we are also talking to investors from abroad. In fact, there is a plan for international roadshow also, in which we will be talking to outside agencies. We have had ambassador roundtable in which we had asked for investors from outside to invest in India, particularly in the Northeastern region. We had one round of ambassador round. We had one round of meeting with the investors. Second ambassador meet is also going to be happening.
You're also talking about the summit. Is it a global summit or just for the domestic players to investor to participate?
It is domestic summit, but we are calling investors from outside also. So in fact, that's why I said we are planning to have international roadshow in which we can call. We are talking to all the ambassadors so that we have talked to all the business councils of other countries. For example, US, UK, India Business Council, Saudi Arabia, Australia, all these people we are talking. So the idea is that these strong points of Northeast in terms of investment destination, this is so strong that we can invite FDI also and they will come. We have some SEZ also in terms of biotechnology SEZ in Sikkim, or in Assam we have Food Industrial Park, Export Promotion Industrial Park. We have ITES SEZ in Manipur and Nagaland. We also have multi-product SEZ in Tripura. Now we are trying to see how we can make good use of this. We are trying to operationalize these SEZ. We are talking to state governments. We are also talking to Ministry of Commerce. Some of the potentials of that area is, let me tell you, two strong potentials which we have not given focus earlier. One is bamboo and one is agarwood. Agarwood is something on which we had an interministerial task force. They have come out with a good set of recommendations and now we are following through. The idea is agarwood is used for perfume, and the potential
highly
of
sought in the global market as well.
And it's very niche product again. So Assam and Tripura has good potential. So we have started seeing the implementation of these recommendations. Some of the policy decisions have already been taken by Ministry of Commerce and Ministry of Environment. The potential of Tripura itself is more than 7,000 crore. So these are niche areas which we are trying to promote. We are also talking to all the foreign agencies, ambassadors, and the response that we are seeing is people are excited about this. It will be first movers advantage. Whosoever comes in first will have the advantage of being the leader in that area, because this is almost a untapped area. So now
we are keenly watch potential area.
Yes.
Secretary, I'll come back to our country leadership, especially when we talk about Prime Minister. We have observed he has focused in his many speeches, in his policy directions towards the Northeast. He sees as a sunshine, as a country's growth potential, and he has recently also launched what we call Ashta Lakshmi Mahotsav for the Northeast region. How does the festival align with the government's broader strategy for the development of Northeast in terms of economic development and broadly, if you talk about the holistic development of Northeast? How do you connect Ashta Lakshmi, and what is happening, how it is unfolding?
Thank you. You mentioned that. So we had in December last year Ashta Lakshmi Mahotsav in Delhi, which was inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister. This was a celebration to celebrate the richness, the cultural richness, the presence of large economic potential in that area, the artists of that area. So we had pavilion for all the 8 states. We had Muga silk, Eri silk, GI pavilion. We had 40 vendors from each state, so 320 vendors and artisans from each state. We had buyer-seller meet, we had investment roundtable, we had technical sessions, and the result is we saw increased interest of people from other parts of the country in Northeast. Since then, we have been seeing a renewed interest. Many investors came. In fact, during that event also, we had more than 2,400 crores of MOU signed. So that was the beginning, and after that we have seen that there is a good amount of investment already flowing in. So as I said, 1 lakh crore of MOUs had been signed in the last few road shows. Almost latest figure is more than 2,500 crores of projects are already grounded, and this is something which we are monitoring on a regular basis. But Ashta Lakshmi Mahotsav was a key event, and it's proposed to be a permanent
annual event which we planning.
It's proposed to be a permanent signature program of the ministry, and we find that it has had a very salutary effect on the impression of Northeast. What are the potentials? People were not so much knowing about this, at least in the capital area, and we saw that it had a very good connect with the Northeast. People knew, they interacted, and it was a successful event.
Secretary, very important, as we also witnessed, I was there today at the Startup Mahakumbh. I have seen about 50 countries, not only Indian, billion startups participating with the world, top 50 countries, the startup participating with the technology, the breakthrough technology. And here comes the Northeast part. How is the government working to strengthen the startup ecosystem in the Northeast region? And what specific role has NEDFI played in supporting entrepreneurs, startup, MSME in the region, especially when you talk about there is a higher skill set as well presented in the Northeast. We talked about semiconductor, so it's fundamentally a broad level of investment which we're looking at, and startup remains the key area of, in fact, Prime Minister vision also in Northeast. If you could elaborate on this, Secretary Kumar.
Okay, so NEDFI is a organization under us, Northeastern Development Finance Corporation. They have been tasked with this mandate of helping the entrepreneurs, helping the startup company. We have seen that India has started becoming a very, very attractive place for startups, and it's a thriving nation of startups, and Northeast is no exception. We have been talking to many organizations in Northeast, for example, IIT, IIIT, NIT, AIMS, NID, IIM, and seeing the rich potential of startups in Northeast, they have started mentoring and incubating the budding entrepreneurs. And we have had very good examples. So this NEDFI has started Northeast Venture Fund, and they have helped many entrepreneurs through this Northeast Venture Fund. They have also tied up with states, for example, the state of Manipur, to have a state-specific venture fund, so that both the state and the
support at the very concept level of a startup?
Yes. Okay. And that hand-holding is done right from the beginning till the
seed level, what we call in
till the maturity
language
of the project. Yes. So that is done. So NEDFI is doing that activity, and we are supporting NEDFI in that. So that is our organization which is helping in this. But let me tell you, I have had occasion to interact with around 75 entrepreneurs, startups last year. And the potential of these students and these young boys and girls is so much, and they have started startup companies working in different fields. You will find them working in fisheries, you will find them working in IT-based solutions, you will find them working in healthcare, you will find them working in agro-processing unit. And I have found that the interest is increasing day by day. We are finding many people approaching NEDFI for helping them, and NEDFI has, in fact, will be helping them much more in the next financial year so that they can support more of them. But there is a very good startup ecosystem now developed in Northeast. It's poised to help many people, and states are also keen to partner with NEDFI to have a state-specific venture capital fund, and that is a good sign. We are hopeful that in the times to come, we'll have many more youth venturing into startup business and being very successful. And there is ample appetite for that in Northeast.
So with this note, I thank Secretary, Ministry of Donor, for his comprehensive remarks, laying out the policies, implementation, and a new era for the Northeast. As Prime Minister with his Ashtalakshmi has set out, this would be the era of Northeast. This is Manish Kumar Jha signing off from Sansad TV.
Thank you.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा YouTube चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।